This will be a comparison between two separate ideas. 1. Plastic water bottles relative to other materials such as stainless steel or titanium water bottles. And 2. Comparing the more specific plastic water bottle brands of that said material that I have owned or experienced. And note, I will not cover water bottles individually in a separate video series, as I would doubt the integrity of your wakefulness and hold second thoughts towards my sanity. The main pros and cons that I've come with for plastic water bottles are as follows. Pros. 1. Plastic water bottles are cheap, as it gets. Usually 10 to 20 US dollars, if not less. 2. Plastic water bottles are lightweight, therefore they travel well. The only other material that I think travels as well, and I would recommend, is titanium, which is much more expensive. 3. There is a wide range of plastic water bottle designs, more than any other material, including stainless steel. While this has the con that there are a plethora of unacceptable water bottle plastic designs out there, a good review aggregate website such as Amazon, with added the review integrity checker such as FakeSpot to see if the reviews are forged and made up, is imperative for sorting through the Sturgeon's Law that is 90% of everything is crap. That will likely result in you finding the water bottle that meets your needs. 4. There are many durable designs out there for plastic water bottles that will seal as well as any other material. So much so that most metal canteens use a plastic lid with a plastic or silicone seal regardless. In other words, it's the best experience I've had, especially including everything here, with the least likely of the design leaking, unless you literally strip the material of the metal bottle by over sealing it to prevent water from dripping from it. So again, best seal, even to the extent that most metal bottles will still use a plastic or silicone insert top to seal the canteen. 5. You have the option with plastic water bottles of see-through design, as you can see here. Woohoo! Without the need of a fat lid that you would require that grants you a third eye into what you are about to ingest and swallow. To rival this, you would have to choose a much heavier, more fragile material such as glass. And 6. While the best use for seeing through your drink, as I just said, will be camping with alternative water sources. With plastic, though, you can also use a plastic bladder, which will slide into a backpack for either easier weight management and increased capacity for up to 3 liters or 100 ounces. So again, with that alternative in mind, you will have the option to put something on your back which will put a lot less stress on a less comfortable design, particularly something potentially heavier, such as stainless steel, etc. Again, the camelbacks, the bladders tend to fit a bit better on your back than on your side or in any other form of a backpack that you might see here. So it gives you that pro of less weight, more water, at the expense of sort of transitioning the cons. The fact that, 1, you should not cook with plastic. However, a canteen or bottle can ask a metal cup to bed with it for cooking or boiling purposes. So what I mean by this is that you can find a canteen design. You can even find it for a bottle such as here that you can just carry with you. Even though this weighs much heavier, you can nestle that in there and then have something that you can boil with, and then preferably if the top is wider, such as something like this, you can sort of dump the liquid into there, and now you've boiled your water. So again, I would recommend, especially for camping, carrying an add-on such as that, for the fact that you can boil your water, because you won't be able to do it with a plastic canteen, or, well, I would not recommend it. 2. Plastic leaches, and as such, it can taint the flavor of each liquid drink. Some of these products, which can become rank without consistent cleaning. I'll go into that down the road. 3, alongside with aluminium, to which there will never be a section on, there may be health risks, as well as, albeit none of that research is conclusive. In other words, relative to glass, ceramic, titanium, stainless steel, there is a higher risk of some sort of pseudo bio problem that you'll have. And in other words, if avoidable, if avoidable, subjectively, I would rather not be in the unstudied long-term research group over a material's healthfulness. Now, I think that comes with a caveat that plastics of 10 years ago were more often, especially Nalgene's, to have BPA in them, which supposedly was carcinogenic, cancerous, or what have you. Well, I don't believe any of these designs have BPA in them anymore. It is still something that is worth considering, since there have been still suggestions that aluminium and plastic could potentially cause problems. So keep that in mind, even as pseudoscientific as it may seem, and down the road it might be totally debunked. So, what brands would I recommend? 1, Surplus, if you want the cheapest and more durable. USGI one here is the highlight. In contrast, this one is a United Kingdom Surplus container. I'm not sure if the European Union uses it, but I think the main point to make here is if you're in the US, this is going to be much cheaper and easier to get. If you're in Europe, this one's going to be probably cheaper and easier to get, although I might be wrong in regards to this one. So the thing is, you can get something like the USGI one, US General Issue, for about $4 when I purchased them. So, and it also, I think the USGI one is ugly and cheap as it might look. It wins the award for most likely to survive the apocalypse. Added the USGI one, since there's so many of them made, it'll probably have the most aftermarket designs, such as pouches or cups that will function alongside it. And what I mean by that is, excuse me, I can't remember what the name, but I think these are typically called the bladder design. I'm probably wrong on that, but compared to the sort of spherical design that you have here. Regardless, it's worth noting that while many designs have this same fit for aftermarket support, such as you can see there, not all of them do. As you can see, the British one here, which has its own cup, it won't fit its own pouch. It has to fit on the top. 2, it will not fit the design here. So hopefully that demonstrates the point that not all of them are made the same. Regardless, though, this one here, while it's cheap, it's durable, and it has the most aftermarket designs, and that includes things such as cups, as I mentioned, and pouches. Oops. As you can see here, there's dozens of these made. In my experience, most of them are pretty low quality, but you have plenty to browse from. 2, I have had positive experiences from Nalgene if you're looking at something that's either see-through or not as durable, perhaps, and perhaps more socially accepted if that's important to you. While Nalgene has a reputation of being indestructible, it is still much less durable than Surplus, such as something here. And I think it's worth noting that its reputation of being indestructible than Nalgene's, I don't think holds the same merit as it might have done 10 years ago. And I don't know if it actually has to do with the BPA that used to be supposedly in Nalgene's designs, but I think something like this is much more likely. They're sort of standard designs. I think it's more likely to shatter if dropped. And in other words, much less durable than the way that they used to be made. However, the company has a very good history of honoring the reputation if one of their products do buckle and break. And what I mean by that is they have a lifetime warranty. So I believe in my last experience, I sent them a picture and they were willing to send a replacement in the mail. But it is worth noting that a drop from the harder plastics, such as this one, would eventually result in it shattering and breaking somewhat like glass. in other words. The issue that I've noticed with their other designs, which are HDPE, I believe is what they're usually called. They're much more squishy designs, these ones included. While they're less likely to shatter and more likely to just get scratched, like something you might see in here, that they're really stinky with use, some of which seems nearly impossible to get rid of without a degree in chemistry. I've had a good experience using denture cleaner in these and just leaving them overnight and then washing them. However, it's still worth noting that these get disgusting very fast. They seem to leach more the design, and sometimes that smell feels like it's impossible to get rid of. I wouldn't recommend these to the same extent. I would recommend something like that. But 3, if you are looking for a unless you're going to wash these like every 24 hours perhaps, but 3, if you are looking for a double walled straw beverage holder, this is sort of the alternative recommendation, that something that you're going to keep at one location, like a ceramic mug or a glass mug or glass container. I've had the best luck with the emergency room vessels, such as Worley Industries. This is the one that I've most frequently seen here. Just again, it's something that I've had the best luck with, even though I think the design is much less durable in the long term. I think if you drop them, you're more likely to have a problem where the double wall will shatter and break. Albeit it's still more convenient if you're going to have it in just one spot. The other, I guess, advantage is compared to everything else here, the Worley design is double walled, which means that it'll keep a cool beverage for longer. It should also keep a warm beverage longer, but I think with a warmer beverage, you're also going to increase the chances that of leaching and affecting the taste of something, especially water. And note that there are over 1,000 plastic water bottle companies in existence, most without a tried and true time-tested design like the ones that I've shown here. Surplus and Nalgene cover the needs of the average consumer looking into a water vessel, since if one wanted to spend more money or add more weight, as in they were traveling with the containers less, I would rather go for a metal container or just use a glass or ceramic product that I have at home. So unless you're camping, bringing it to and from home to work, for example, I would recommend something else that's probably heavier or more expensive. So to me though, I think the main thing with plastic is it's cheap and it's durable. If you wanted to get something durable that you could camp with, you'd have to probably invest sometimes up to 10 times more in costs for titanium to reach that same level of lightness and durability. The only other alternative product worth mentioning, I think, is Rubbermaid, although I still don't have the same experience that I do with Nalgene. Unless you are looking into a hydration pack, in which case I've had the best experience with Camelback, as I showed earlier. However, due to the increased complexity with a hydration pack such as this, most eventually will fail or see a problem down the road. And what I mean by that is, without the upkeep and the design, like consistently watching it, you have a high potential for mold and other grossness, as well as the many parts in its design to sort of break down. And that includes mold getting in somewhere like the straw or in here. So for a more in-depth and droll video, be sure to reference my Canteen Quest videos shown in a cave near you. Cheers.